The officiant's voice echoed in the grand hall. A sudden shock pulsed through Liam's mind. Strange words and images flooded his consciousness. He understood his reality with stunning clarity. This world was a story from a book. He was a minor character, a tragic footnote. He was replacing his runaway sister at the altar. The plot dictated his death this very night. The groom would discover his true identity. A violent end would come swiftly. This horrifying premonition became intensely real. He could almost see his own lifeless body. A deep chill settled into his bones. His frame began to tremble uncontrollably. Footsteps approached from outside the waiting room. Someone announced the groom's arrival. The urge to flee was overwhelming, but the heavy oak door swung open. A delicate lace veil was placed over his head. An assistant handed him a white rose bouquet. The wedding planner urged him forward. She said they could not delay the ceremony. Liam took a deep breath. He moved forward on unsteady legs. Through the veil, the groom was a blurry figure. He knew Ethan Croft was powerful. His father was a formidable senator. Liam's own father was merely a state representative. This marriage was far above their station. But Ethan had lost his sight 5 years ago. An accident had left him in darkness. The senator sought a perfect match for his son. An old family pact was invoked. The agreement named Liam's sister, Amelia. The news was like winning a lottery for his family. But Amelia had vanished with a lover. She ran away the day before the wedding. Liam had to protect his family's honor. He agreed to take his sister's place. It seemed like a desperate, foolish plan. But defying the Crofts was unthinkable. Their family would face ruin and disgrace. Perhaps Ethan's blindness offered a chance. He might be fooled. With that fragile hope, his parents urged him on. He had not resisted them then. He did not know his fate was pre-written. He did not know he was meant to die so soon. Now the vows were exchanged. The reception was a blur of faces. He was finally led to the master suite. He sat on the edge of a vast four-poster bed. His heart felt like it was being devoured. The desire to escape was a roaring fire. The story said he died on his wedding night. That moment was rapidly approaching. His life was about to reach its conclusion. He refused to accept such a fate. He stood up abruptly, his resolve hardening. Family honor meant nothing to him now. His own survival was all that mattered. He reached for the veil, ready to tear it off. A sharp voice stopped him. Ethan's housekeeper, Mrs. Gable, stood in the doorway. She insisted the groom must be the one to remove it. Liam quickly invented an excuse. He explained that he needed to change his clothes. Any reason to leave this room would work. He even claimed an urgent need for the restroom. Mrs. Gable remained unyieldingly firm. She told the young master's spouse to be patient. Everything would proceed after the groom's arrival. Waiting for Ethan meant waiting for his own death. He clenched his jaw, desperation rising. He insisted that he could not wait any longer. He prepared to bolt, regardless of the consequences. Just then, other staff announced Ethan's arrival. Before Liam could react, Mrs. Gable guided him back. He was gently pushed to sit on the bed. Tears welled in his eyes. Was there truly no way to change his destiny? The housekeeper then welcomed the groom. Ethan used a ceremonial letter opener to lift the veil. Liam finally saw his husband's face clearly. He had a vague memory of Ethan from years ago. Ethan had rescued him from a lake during a summer party. He was just a child and had forgotten the incident. His parents only reminded him after the engagement. Looking at him now, Liam was surprised. He expected someone somber after 5 years of blindness. Instead, Ethan was tall and powerfully built. His face was handsome and resolute. His sightless eyes did not appear dull at all. They held a strange, captivating depth. His presence was magnetic and commanding. No one would dismiss him as just a blind man. Liam found himself staring, lost in thought. A server brought 2 glasses of champagne. The housekeeper announced the wedding toast. It was for a long and happy union. Ethan raised his glass first. He invited his new spouse to drink. Liam looked at him, then at the glass. He knew escape was impossible now. He could only play along. Ethan's arm linked with his for the toast. His deep blue eyes seemed to look directly at him. Liam's heart hammered against his ribs. For a terrifying second, he thought Ethan could see. After the toast, the staff discreetly departed. The large suite became silent and still. It was time for their wedding night to begin. The book said he died after his gender was revealed. If he could hide that truth, could he survive? A sliver of hope returned to his desperate heart. Keeping his clothes on was the first priority. He had to invent a believable excuse. Just as he formed a thought, Ethan spoke. He asked why his bride had not yet changed. Liam stammered. He suggested Ethan should change first. He claimed to be tired and wanted to rest. He watched Ethan's face for any sign of suspicion. Ethan showed no strange reaction. Liam felt a small wave of relief. But then Ethan made another suggestion. He acknowledged the day's stress. He offered to help his new partner undress. The words sent a jolt of panic through Liam. That would surely lead to a quicker death. Besides, he was supposed to be blind. Liam watched him with suspicion. Ethan was already removing his own tuxedo jacket. His movements were fluid and certain. He did not fumble like a blind person might. An unbelievable theory began to form in Liam's mind. He cautiously approached Ethan. He waved a hand in front of his husband's face. On the third wave, Ethan's hand shot out. It clamped firmly around Liam's wrist. Liam's face went pale with terror. He stammered about Ethan's eyes. Ethan calmly stated that, to his disappointment, he could not see. Liam questioned how he caught his hand so easily. Ethan simply smiled. He explained that the movement created a faint breeze. Blind people often have sharper hearing. Liam felt foolish for his test. He was especially embarrassed by Ethan's gentle smile. The man had been blind for 5 years. It was cruel to test him like that. Ethan had likely noticed his discomfort. He was probably trying to spare him any awkwardness. He recalled his father mentioning how Ethan saved him. He must be a fundamentally good person. Ethan asked again if he was ready to change. Liam knew further delays would be suspicious. He went to a large walk-in closet. He grabbed the silk pajamas left out for him. As he headed for the privacy of the bathroom, Ethan spoke. He suggested Liam change in the main room. He said he couldn't see anything anyway. There was no need to worry about him watching. His tone held a hint of melancholy. Liam felt a pang of guilt. He felt like a villain bullying a disabled person. His desire for privacy suddenly seemed terribly selfish. He explained it was just a habit. He assured Ethan it had nothing to do with him. After his brief explanation, he began to undress. Ethan's gaze was fixed in his direction. It was a strange sensation. He knew the man couldn't see, yet being watched so intently felt unnerving. He couldn't tell Ethan to look away. He quickly changed into the silk pajamas. His anxiety grew with each passing moment. He frantically searched for an excuse. He needed a way to avoid consummating the marriage. Suddenly, a warm hand enclosed his. Ethan remarked on how cold his hands were. Liam claimed he was naturally prone to chills. He tried to pull his hand away. Ethan's grip only tightened. He gently led Liam toward the bed. He murmured that they shouldn't waste the night. Liam's mind went blank with panic. How could he stop this? This was not just about intimacy. It was about his very life. Ethan seemed to sense his hesitation. He asked if something was wrong. His gaze was direct and penetrating. Though he knew it was impossible, Liam felt completely exposed. He looked at Ethan, then at the large bed. He decided to get into bed first. He could wrap himself in the blankets. Ethan would not be able to remove his clothes by force. He scrambled onto the mattress, but he felt a sudden draft. He looked back. His pajama pants were somehow in Ethan's hand. He was left in nothing but his boxers. He nearly cried out in shock. He remembered Ethan was blind. That thought calmed him slightly, but his relief was short-lived. A large hand rested firmly on his backside. Liam's eyes widened in disbelief. Ethan seemed unaware of what he was touching. He gave a few gentle squeezes. He even commented on the nice feel. A deep blush spread across Liam's face. He wished the ground would swallow him whole. He quickly suggested they should just go to sleep. He hoped to change the subject. Ethan agreed and climbed into bed. Liam immediately rolled away. He tried to create distance between them, but as he moved, Ethan moved with him. Soon, his back was against the headboard. Ethan's body was pressed close against his. An arm wrapped around his waist. He felt a sense of utter defeat. There was no escape. He closed his eyes, his will to fight gone. If this was his fate, he would accept it. He braced for the discovery. He expected the inevitable violent reaction. But then, a soft kiss landed on his nose. He opened his eyes. He met Ethan's gaze, which burned with desire. Could he truly not see? Before he could process the thought, Ethan's lips were on his. The kiss was passionate and overwhelming. Liam quickly lost his sense of resistance. His body felt weak and pliant. His mind grew hazy and indistinct. His pajama top was pulled away. His boxers soon followed. He was startled back to full awareness. He tried to push Ethan away, but it was too late. Ethan was like an insatiable predator. He pressed Liam down into the soft mattress. He took him again and again. Afterwards, Liam lay exhausted and limp, but his heart was soaring with excitement. Ethan had not discovered his secret. The book's prophecy was specific. He was to be killed on his wedding night. That was after his identity as a man was found. He glanced at the man beside him. Ethan held him close, an arm draped over his waist. He seemed content and already asleep. This did not look like a man about to commit murder. Ethan had been with him for hours. He had still not realized he was a man. Did this mean the deadly part of the plot was over? Had he successfully escaped his fated death? The more he thought about it, the more ecstatic he felt. If he had any energy left, he would have jumped for joy. With this thrilling thought, he drifted into a peaceful sleep. He did not know what happened next. After he was asleep, Ethan opened his eyes. He watched Liam for a long time. He leaned in to place 2 soft kisses on his face. Then he pulled him closer and fell asleep. The next day, they had brunch with Ethan's parents. His own parents had prepared him for this. They taught him the etiquette of a new bride. He needed to avoid any missteps at the Croft estate. Now that his death seemed averted, he remembered these details. His next goal was simple. He just had to wait for Amelia's return. The book said she came back soon after the male substitute died. She was filled with regret. She wanted to atone for abandoning Ethan. She offered to stay and be his true wife. Thinking about it now felt strange. Before, he was only focused on his own survival. But Amelia returning would mean his freedom. He and his sister could resume their proper places. That was a good thing, so he decided not to overthink it. His only job was to be the perfect Croft spouse. His personal assistant, Chloe, had come with him. She was one of the few who knew his real identity. Seeing her that morning was a great relief. He could not manage formal attire on his own. He also could not trust the Croft staff. Chloe was his only confidant here. A key reason he could pull this off was his appearance. He had always had delicate, androgynous features. With a little makeup, no one would suspect he was a man. His parents had probably relied on that fact. As Chloe worked, he wondered if things would be different. If he were more masculine, would he have been spared this? But there were no what-ifs. The brunch was a success. The dining room held only the senator and his wife. They seemed quite pleased with him. They presented him with gifts. One was a vintage watch in a velvet box. The other was a heavy platinum bracelet. He accepted them quietly. He planned to give them to Amelia upon her return. As they left the room, Ethan noticed the bracelet. He took it and fastened it onto Liam's wrist. He moved so quickly, Liam had no chance to refuse. Liam glanced again at his husband's eyes. How could a blind person be so deft? Ethan then took his hand. He commented that the bracelet must look very nice. Hearing this, Liam felt a twinge of pity. He wanted to say something comforting, but Ethan suddenly voiced a different thought. He said he found something very strange. Liam's heart skipped a beat. A terrible premonition washed over him. He nervously asked what was strange. Had Ethan finally figured something out? Ethan's long fingers gently touched his cheek. His dark, unseeing eyes stared at him intently. Liam felt transparent, as if he were being seen through. Had his deadly fate merely been postponed? Ethan then asked why his face was so cold. His other hand touched Liam's arm and shoulder. He noted how thin his clothes were. He called him a little fool. He said Liam should have held onto him for warmth. His tone was chiding but full of affection. Liam, who had been frozen with fear, was now just confused. So he had not discovered anything. Liam let out a silent sigh of relief. He didn't even notice when Ethan pulled him into an embrace. Then Ethan's voice came from above his head. He mentioned he almost forgot his original question. He asked if his spouse knew what he found so strange. The warmth of the embrace vanished. A chill ran down Liam's spine. After a moment, he managed to ask what it was. Ethan held his shoulders, gently pushing him back. He lowered his head, their eyes meeting. His expression was serious. Liam's own nervousness intensified. His legs felt weak. Just as the tension became unbearable, Ethan smiled. He asked why, as a married couple, his spouse had not called him by his name. He added a hint of sadness to his voice. He wondered if perhaps his spouse found him lacking. Liam did not know what he would say next. He had a feeling it would be something painful. He quickly covered Ethan's mouth with his hand. He spoke loudly, telling him not to think such things. He confessed that calling him by his first name felt awkward. After all, he was a man. Calling another man so intimately was strange. Ethan's face lit up with genuine joy. He exclaimed that Liam had finally said his name. He asked if he could hear it a few more times. His happiness was contagious. Without thinking, Liam wanted to please him. "Ethan," he said. "Ethan. Ethan." He only realized on the third time what he was doing. They were in a main hallway. Staff members were walking by. He felt a hot blush of embarrassment. After that incident, Liam tried to avoid Ethan. Their public display had been too much for him. But Ethan seemed determined to stick by his side. If Liam stood, Ethan stood next to him. If Liam sat, Ethan sat beside him. He tried to use reading a book as a shield. Ethan then picked up a book himself. He held it, pretending to read. Liam wanted to ask if he had forgotten his blindness. While reading, Ethan would reach out. He would touch Liam's hand or stroke his cheek. Sometimes he would lean in for a quick kiss. Liam's face felt constantly flushed. He finally whispered that it was daytime. They could not do this. He tried to gently push Ethan away, but Ethan simply wrapped an arm around his waist. The light pecs became a deep, demanding kiss. Before he knew it, Ethan had lifted him. He was placed on a large mahogany desk. Ethan guided his legs to wrap around his waist. When his mind cleared, his shirt was already unbuttoned. One shoulder was completely exposed. Ethan's fingers traced patterns on his skin. Memories of their wedding night filled his mind. He let out a soft moan. He tried to stop him, but his voice came out sounding breathy and inviting. Ethan's own voice was deep and husky. He whispered promises into Liam's ear. The warm breath sent shivers down his spine. A pleasant, thrilling sensation washed over him. He knew he should protest, but his hands moved of their own accord. They tangled in Ethan's hair, pulling him closer. When Ethan finally stopped, Liam was spent. He could not move a single muscle. He lay on the desk, catching his breath. As his mind cleared, his eyes welled up. Ethan was fumbling to fix his clothes. He must have heard a soft sob. He leaned over him immediately. He asked if he had hurt him. Liam just shook his head, feeling miserable. Then he remembered Ethan couldn't see. No, he said, his voice thick with tears. The words sounded unconvincing. Ethan gently stroked his face. He kissed his forehead tenderly. He then asked why he was crying. Seeing him so oblivious, Liam felt a surge of frustration. He asked how Ethan could be so bold. He had dragged him into this in broad daylight. If anyone had seen, he would die of shame. Ethan replied calmly. He said such things were normal between spouses. They did it when they wanted it, when it felt good. The time of day did not matter. He also added that he had dismissed all the staff. No one would ever know. Liam asked if he was certain. He was still worried, but Ethan's reassurance did calm him. Ethan chuckled softly and stroked his hair. He whispered that no one would know, so Liam should just relax and enjoy it. He then teased him about how much he enjoyed it. He reminded Liam he had begged him not to stop. Liam quickly covered his mouth again. This man was truly shameless. Why did he always bring up such embarrassing things? Ethan kissed the hand covering his mouth. He gently moved it away. He said Liam was shy, but these things were more enjoyable with abandon. He suggested Liam try letting go a little. Liam looked at him, not fully understanding. That night, Ethan showed him exactly what he meant. Under his guidance, Liam discovered a new level of pleasure. He found he enjoyed their intimacy even more. He became less resistant to Ethan's daytime advances. The days passed in a haze of lazy affection and passion. Soon, it was time for his 3-day visit home. He woke up with an aching back. If not for his parents' expectation, he would have stayed in bed. He looked at Ethan. The man was energetic and refreshed. It was a mystery. They both did the same thing. Yet Liam was exhausted, and Ethan was thriving. He wondered if it was because Ethan was always on top. He quietly considered what it might be like to switch roles. He filed the thought away for later. After breakfast, a car took them to his family's home. It was an hour's drive from the Croft estate. As they pulled up, he saw his parents waiting. In just a few days, they seemed to have aged years. They looked tired and drawn. Seeing him, their eyes grew red. Liam felt his own tears start to fall. Ethan gently wiped his tears with a handkerchief. He had grown used to these moments. Ethan often did things a sighted person would do. Liam let him, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. Looking at his parents, his resentment melted away. He rushed forward to hug them. His parents embraced him tightly. Ethan approached and greeted his in-laws. The emotional family reunion finally broke. His father apologized for the scene. Ethan was gracious. He insisted he was not a stranger. They ushered their new son-in-law inside. His father took Ethan to the living room. His mother pulled Liam toward the back garden. He knew she wanted to talk privately. He excused himself from Ethan and followed her. As they walked, his mother sighed deeply. She said she and his father had wronged him. They had ruined what should have been a bright future. Liam told her not to say that. They had been in an impossible situation. If he had not taken Amelia's place, they might all be gone. This was the best possible outcome. He added that Ethan was very good to him. This was not just a comforting lie. Ethan truly was kind to him. Aside from his high libido, he was gentle and attentive. He worried Liam would feel lonely. He spent every day with him. He told jokes to make him laugh. They walked in the gardens and explored the estate. He always asked about Liam's favorite foods. The chefs prepared special meals just for him. He even took Liam on drives into the city. He took him to quiet spots in the countryside. Every day had been happy. It was nothing like the grim endurance he had expected. He thought he would have to pretend constantly. He believed he needed to act virtuous to hide his identity. But he didn't have to do anything. Ethan was the one making all the effort. Ethan was the one trying to make him happy. He didn't realize a smile had spread across his face. His mother watched him for a moment. The worry in her eyes seemed to lessen. Seeing that he was genuinely doing well, his parents relaxed. When he and Ethan left, they were smiling. He felt a great sense of relief. They had all carefully avoided mentioning Amelia. He did not want to upset his parents. They probably no longer considered her their daughter. The book was strange. It detailed his own tragic end. But it never mentioned what happened to anyone else. It only said Amelia returned, full of regret. Then she wanted to atone by becoming Ethan's wife. Did Ethan agree to that? The thought created an unpleasant feeling in his chest. He told himself it was just resentment toward his sister. That explanation made him feel a little better. He thought life would settle into a routine after that visit. He imagined taking on more duties as a Croft spouse. But Ethan still filled their days with leisure, and their nights were filled with passion. He had learned to enjoy their nights immensely. His life was a happy dream. Was marriage supposed to feel this blissful? One night, after they were finished, Ethan held him close. Liam was thinking about the past few weeks. A small laugh escaped his lips. Ethan leaned in close to his ear. He asked if he had made him feel that good. His teasing voice made Liam blush. He told Ethan to stop talking about such things. He lightly punched his chest in mock anger. Ethan caught his hand after a few playful blows. He kissed his knuckles. He insisted on knowing what was so funny. Liam knew he wouldn't let it go. He whispered that he just felt this was nice. It was really good. Ethan's body tensed. He asked if Liam really meant that. His voice was tight with emotion. Liam was startled by his intense reaction. He confirmed that he meant it. Ethan released his hand and pulled him into a fierce hug. He asked if they could continue like this forever. His voice was serious and deeply earnest. Liam was stunned. A strange emotion swelled in his chest. His eyes stung with unshed tears. Something was shifting inside him. He hugged Ethan back tightly. He managed a small, quiet yes. Ethan seemed overjoyed. He quickly removed Liam's fresh pajamas. He pressed him into the mattress once more. After that night, Liam began to avoid Ethan. He regretted his promise. He knew the story's plot. He knew he could not keep that promise. If he could go back in time, would he answer differently? He asked himself this question silently. The answer was no. He could not have borne disappointing Ethan in that moment. But what was he supposed to do now? Ethan must have noticed his avoidance. Surprisingly, he did not confront him. He did not cling to him like before. This gave Liam some space, but it also filled him with a profound disappointment. So Ethan didn't really care after all. One day, Ethan told him he had business to attend to. Liam knew he had interests outside the home. He often went out for meetings, so this was not unusual. Even though he had been avoiding him, he felt a surge of worry. He reminded Ethan to be careful. He told him to let his driver handle things. He shouldn't overexert himself. A faint smile touched Ethan's handsome face. He cupped Liam's face in his hands. He leaned in and kissed him softly. He promised he would be careful. Liam blushed and walked him to the door. Not long after Ethan left, a messenger arrived. It was from his family. They said there was an urgent matter. His father requested his presence immediately. Liam worried his parents were unwell. He had a car prepared at once. He rushed to his family home. But when he arrived, he saw a familiar, yet strange person. His mind went completely blank. So it was time for this part of the story. He always thought it would be much later. He never expected his sister to return so soon. The book said she came back a month and a half later. It had now been about 2 months. She was later than scheduled. Amelia had always been pampered. The family had invested heavily in her upbringing. She had the air of a perfect, wealthy debutante. Now, after only 2 months, she looked haggard. She seemed to have aged 5 years. Her life on the run had clearly been difficult. She had claimed it was true love. But now she was back, full of regret. Before Liam could decide on an expression, she ran to him. She threw her arms around him, crying. She said he must have suffered. She claimed it was all her fault. She was back now and he could have his normal life. She promised he would never suffer again. Her words were meant to be kind. He should have been touched. But he felt nothing. Suffered? Not at all. An abnormal life? This life felt quite normal. He wanted to say these things. But seeing her tear-streaked face, he held his tongue. Amelia cried for a while longer. Then she announced she would go to the Croft estate. She would switch places with him. Liam remained silent. He didn't know how to respond. He glanced at his parents. They stood by, hesitant to speak. A wave of bitterness washed over him. The atmosphere in the room was heavy and suffocating. Finally, his father broke the silence. He told Amelia to go to her room. He and his wife needed to speak with Liam alone. Amelia gave Liam a strange look. She then nodded obediently. She reminded her parents to talk sense into him. Liam watched her leave. He assumed his parents wanted to persuade him. He had been waiting for this moment. But now that it was here, he felt conflicted. His father spoke first. He said that he and his mother would respect his decision. If he wanted to stay at the Croft estate, he could. If he wanted to leave, his sister would replace him. The choice was his alone. He did not need to consider anyone else. His mother added her agreement. They had failed him once. They would not let him sacrifice himself again. As for Amelia, he should not worry about her. Liam then understood. His parents still resented his sister, and rightly so. She nearly destroyed their entire family. He started to explain his feelings. He was happy at the Croft estate. Ethan was very good to him. He was cut off mid-sentence. Amelia burst back into the room. She held a small, sharp knife. Her eyes were filled with a terrifying hatred. She screamed at him. She demanded he stay away from Ethan forever. She threatened to kill herself right there. She taunted him with the idea of causing his sister's death. He and his parents were stunned by this tactic. His father yelled at her. He called her crazy for threatening her own brother. Amelia sneered back at him. She said any brother who stole her husband was an enemy. Anyone who stood in her way was an enemy. Seeing her contorted face, Liam found it almost funny. Who was standing in her way? She was the one who ran away. If not for her, he would never have been in this situation. His words must have provoked her. She suddenly plunged the knife into her own arm. It was a shallow but bloody wound. That single act decided the matter. He did not care about the title of sister killer, but he could not let his parents watch their child die. He surrendered. He would go back and pack his things. He would tell them he was visiting home for a few days. She should let her arm heal. Then she could go to the Croft estate. He turned and left without another word. If he stayed, he might have done something violent himself. His parents followed him out. They were crying. They tried to speak, but he stopped them. He did not want to hear anything more. Back at the estate, he packed a small bag. He wanted to leave immediately, but he felt a deep sense of incompletion. He would regret it for the rest of his life. He could not leave without seeing Ethan one last time. Ethan returned that evening. The moment he appeared, Liam's eyes locked onto him. He couldn't look away. He didn't want to blink. The thought of never seeing him again was a physical pain. Ethan was still in his usual playful mood. He asked why Liam was so quiet. He teased that he must have missed him too much to speak. He stepped forward and pulled him into an embrace. He lowered his head to kiss him. Liam knew this was their last kiss. For the first time, he responded with equal passion. Ethan was quickly aroused by his unexpected fervor. Dinner was forgotten. He carried Liam to the bedroom. Their lovemaking lasted for hours. Afterwards, Liam lay panting. He watched Ethan, who had his eyes closed in rest. The feeling of loss was overwhelming. "Goodbye, Ethan." He said the words silently in his heart. He carefully got out of bed. He picked up his packed bag. He took one last look at the man he was leaving. Then he walked out of the room. He had only taken a few steps down the hall. A hand grabbed him from behind. He spun around, startled. He met Ethan's gaze. His eyes were clear and focused. Ethan silently dragged him back into the room. He pushed him against the wall. His eyes traveled slowly down Liam's body. "I went to great trouble to get you here," he said. "Do you really think I would let you leave?" Liam was stunned and terrified. He did not know what to be shocked about first. What did he mean he had designed it? So Ethan knew his identity all along? And his eyes? It was not a trick of the light. They looked nothing like a blind person's eyes. His mind was a chaotic mess. He finally managed to choke out a single question. He asked about his eyes. He asked if they were fine. "Yes," Ethan said with a half-smile. "Are you disappointed?" Liam insisted he was happy for him, but he needed to understand what was happening. Ethan saw his genuine confusion. He gently stroked his hair to soothe him. Then he shamelessly confessed everything. The plan to switch the bride was his idea. His parents had not thought of it. He had bribed their most trusted housekeeper. The woman had planted the idea in their minds. Liam demanded to know why. He asked if it was fun to play with him like this. Tears streamed down his face. Ethan looked shocked by his tears. He quickly pulled him into his arms. He murmured comforting words. He said he would never toy with him. He did it because he liked him. He had wanted him for a long time. This was the only way to make Liam his spouse. He challenged Liam to deny their happiness together. He knew Liam liked being with him too. Liam looked down, unable to meet his eyes. He couldn't answer. He asked if his sister's elopement was also his doing. Ethan explained that Amelia already had a lover. He had nothing to do with their affair. Her running away was her own choice. He had merely helped cover her tracks. This prevented the Wallace family from finding her. Then he added that she had decided to return. His voice turned cold and menacing. Liam was frightened by this new side of him. He begged Ethan not to do anything rash. Ethan held him tighter. He promised he would do nothing, as long as Liam stayed by his side. It was a threat, Liam knew. He should have been angry, but he felt no anger at all. He thought of his sister's crazed behavior. He worried what she might do. Ethan reassured him. He said Amelia would be back where she belonged by morning. He did not explain what that meant. The next day, Liam found out. His parents came to the estate early in the morning. They were furious. They told him about what Amelia had done. The family of her lover had shown up at their house. They claimed Amelia was pregnant with their son's child. They were there to take their daughter-in-law home. Amelia vehemently denied being pregnant, but the family had brought a doctor. At the sight of the doctor, she panicked. She refused an examination and tried to run. After a commotion, the family took her with them. His father's eyes were red. He said they were disowning her. She was no longer welcome in their home. His mother took his hand. She said they had thought about it all night. Even if Amelia hadn't been taken away, they wouldn't have let her replace him. Their marriage was a strange accident, but it had turned into something real. They could see he and Ethan were happy. They told him to live his life well with him. After his parents left, Liam began to cry. A pair of arms wrapped around him from behind. Ethan's voice was soft. He chided him gently for crying again. Liam turned in his arms. He hugged him back with all his strength. "Ethan," he said, holding him tightly. He knew he never wanted to let go. Ethan chuckled. He suggested they continue their embrace in bed. He swept Liam up into his arms. Liam felt a mix of exasperation and love. He playfully tugged on Ethan's ear. He still had one question. He asked why Ethan pretended to be blind for so long. Ethan's lips curved into a smile. "Because," he said, "it was the only way to get you."